Well, to no one's surprise, Thunderbolts has had a less than mediocre reception at the box office.
No, 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 no.
And after I finished the movie and the credits rolled, I thought, that was okay, I guess. I mean, it wasn't great, or good even. But at least it didn't leave me with that same amount of shame and disgust that Brave New World did. Which is a sad state of affairs for Marvel if every new release is going to be stacked up against Sam Wilson's Captain America movie. So, does Thunderbolts do enough to turn this sinking Titanic of a franchise around? Well, let's get into it. So the core of this film centers around Elaine Bennis, who is being investigated by the US government for her shady political dealings. In order to avoid prosecution, she decides to clean house and tie up any loose ends that could be used against her in court. This brings in Florence Pugh. She is sent on a mission to the secret Black Ops test site to take out the phasing chick from Ant-Man 2. But when Florence Pugh arrives, she gets intercepted by John Walker and the task mistress. The four then fight for a while, which wakes up Bob, a mysterious but seemingly naive test subject. The fight ends with the phasing chick popping Taskmistress in the head just before everyone realizes that this is just one big trap set up by Elaine. Honestly, it seems like the writers were throwing us a bit of a bone here, considering that they must have known the general dislike for the female Taskmaster, and probably thought it'd be pretty funny to kill her off in the first 10 minutes of the movie. I mean, you could have done that all the way back in the Black Widow movie, but I'm not complaining. While this is all going on, Bucky Barnes shows up to investigate Elaine, and makes contact with her assistant, who tells him that there is indeed some shady shit going on. By this time, our main characters have figured out that they've all been sent to this facility to die, and so they decide to team up and escape. As they are about to make their getaway though, it's revealed that Bob is actually Sentry, one of Elaine's test subjects that turns out to be one of the most powerful beings in the universe. He ends up using his powers only to knock himself out, and is captured by Elaine. Conveniently, the rest of the team then meet up in the desert with the Red Guardian, who are quickly intercepted by Bucky. He then convinces the group that they need to work together to stop Elaine before she can use Sentry to take over the world or something. So the group heads to New York and they're easily defeated by Sentry. But he quickly becomes unstable due to his serious mental health issues and turns into the Void, his evil persona. The Void then starts sending people into this creepy dreamscape. So the Thunderbolts decide to enter this nightmare realm and use the power of friendship to stop Bob from killing everyone. New York is then saved and Elaine makes the team the new Avengers. And so the movie ends. Okay, so yeah, this was certainly okay.
Wrong!
The film does a solid enough job telling a clear-cut story with a consistent style throughout. It doesn't feel like 5 movies loosely tied together like Brave New World did. And it's not a girl boss snorefest like most Marvel films are these days. The characters are enjoyable for the most part. Bob really shines through as the heart of the team. David Harbour was okay, I guess. Some of his jokes were kind of needy and desperate, but it doesn't get in the way of the film too much. The phasing chick was pretty forgettable, and she only really seems to be there to fill in a space rather than play any major role. John Walker is still enjoyable, but, of course, underutilized. The creators still insist on calling him a murderer for killing a terrorist, which works as well as it did back in 2021. Florence Pugh does a solid performance as the new Black Widow, but let's face it, she's never going to replace Scarlett Johansson. The most misused character, however, was the Winter Soldier. I have complained about this before, but Marvel never really found a way to properly utilize Bucky after they decided to make Sam Wilson the new Captain America. At this point, he's just been cycling through so many cameos and side roles that he's lost all meaning as a character. So of course, in this film, he is again sidelined as they give the role of team leader to Florence Pugh instead of Bucky, who is a much more natural leader. This guy has fought in World War II, he was trained by Hydra, and he has fought and won against major superheroes and supervillains in the past. If you're not going to give the shield to Bucky, then at the very least you can make him the leader of the new Avengers, as he would be a much more natural successor to his best friend Steve Rogers. But nope, Give it to the chick who is in one of the worst films in the entire franchise and who has no special powers.
Son of a bitch!
One of the Thunderbolts' biggest issues is that the team lacked that core chemistry which makes movies like the Guardians of the Galaxy or the Suicide Squad so successful. By the end of the movie, it didn't really feel like this was a tight-knit group of ragtag individuals. This issue mostly comes from how the Thunderbolts actually forms as a team. Usually in these big team-up movies, all the main characters meet up at once and begin to reluctantly work together to stop a big bad guy. The Thunderbolts, however, has the Red Guardian and Bucky come in separately when the film is already halfway over. So the important relationship building moments that are needed for this story are missing. This becomes a glaring problem later on in the movie when the team comes together to save Bob. Like, we have the Red Guardian and Bucky hugging Bob to literally stop his psyche from breaking apart, but it's weird when you realize that these guys have actually never met Bob before this fight.
Yeah. Weird.
The film, of course, has many issues with convenient and lazy writing. The Red Guardian just so happens to be the limo driver for Elaine when she openly discusses state secrets, just so he can overhear her. The escape scene from the testing facility was also very weak. Of course, why did the giant furnace room have a timer in it so the main characters could see what was happening? And why was the power source to the furnace put inside the room that they are in? The film is littered with these little problems, but at this point, it's just par for the course for Marvel, isn't it?
You suck!
On a positive note, I really enjoyed the themes of trauma in the film. It felt like a more real and grounded approach for Marvel. It was nice to see a shift away from those big blowout fights in New York City. It's something different at the very least. All in all, Thunderbolts is very much the film I predicted it would be. Something that could push the Marvel Universe along while they tried to course correct all these terrible mistakes they've been making over the past few years. It wasn't going to be a terrible movie, or one that would save the franchise. At best, it would just be mediocre. Nothing controversial and nothing totally off-brand. And that's exactly what the Thunderbolts is. It's just safe. It's a very forgettable film that will get lost in the long line of sludge. At the end of the day, none of this really matters anyway, because Disney is going to drown this IP and start from scratch after Secret Wars comes out. What we are seeing here is the last gasping breaths of a dying franchise, not the birth of a new brand. And after I upload this video, I'm going to forget all about this movie, and so should you. Before I go though, I just want to let you guys know that I've been doing some podcast videos recently with a new buddy of mine called Toller Talks. We have been talking about various topics such as video games, TV shows, and movies. It's been a lot of fun to collaborate with someone like-minded on YouTube. So if you like hearing me complain, then please do check out these videos. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. It's the only form of affection I actually ever get to experience.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
And like always, I'll see you on the next one.